Look at that picture of power, the Triple Crown winner.
Second Chariot has opened a 22-length lead.
Dan Whip, Alliar on the outside driving. Affirmed and Alliar heads apart. Affirmed's got a nose in front as he come onto the wire.
A quarter of a mile to go in the Belmont. Hazy Goer on the outside takes command.
Hello everyone, I'm Chris Fowler and welcome to Run for the Crown on ESPN Classic. The year is 1977. Luke Skywalker begins his battles with the Empire. Elvis left the building one last time. And horse racing was still running in the shadows cast by Secretariat, the red horse who 4 years earlier won the Triple Crown and electrified the nation. Yes, the 1977 Kentucky Derby field had an undefeated horse in Seattle Slew, but few suspected Slew to have the stamina to be Triple Crown material. The Dark Bay had been purchased at bargain basement prices, had not demonstrated dominance in his victories. He was ridden by a Frenchman of little repute and backed by owners with no experience. But this much can be said. As their run for the crown began, the Colts owners, the Slew crew, did have the best story to tell, and it starts with a tip from their vet.
Not many believed there was anything special about Seattle Slew when he was put up for auction in 1975, but veterinarian Dr. Jim Hill saw something he liked.
Bill 17-5.
He was an awesome individual. He was just a great, big, strong, athletic-looking, very immature-looking, and I said, if that isn't a racehorse, my name isn't Jim Hill.
Dr. Hill and his wife Sally got together with Karen and Mickey Taylor to purchase the chestnut brown colt for the bargain price of $17,500.
To buy a horse like Seattle Slew for $17,500 obviously is one of the great Cinderella stories that will ever be written in thoroughbred racing.
Slew paid immediate dividends, winning each of his first 3 starts and being named 2-year-old of the year.
Coming to the 16th pole, Seattle Slew now draws away to lead by 5. Seattle Slew in front by 8 lengths. Seattle Slew going easily.
The Colts' 3-year-old season proved just as successful, as Slew scored 3 more victories in his next 3 starts, including his run in the '77 Wood Memorial.
A furlong to the finish. Seattle Slew has the lead by 5 lengths. That's Sanhedrin on the outside, now second Papalote and Catalan. Past the 70-yard mark, and it's Seattle Slew in front.
The fact that he went undefeated through his 2-year-old career, his named 2-year-old champion, and then was undefeated going into the Triple Crown, I mean, that was really something.
Racing 6 times and winning 6 times, the horse that was purchased at a bargain basement price had proved to be a champion.
When they load him in the gate, the horse doesn't know how much he paid for it. And the trainer did a wonderful job of getting him into shape and ready to face the Triple Crown Challenge.
Seattle Slew's unblemished record would be put to the test in the first leg of the 1977 Triple Crown, the Kentucky Derby, and his owners didn't know quite what to expect.
I had never been to the Derby, so it was our first time, and maybe that's good, because I didn't know how nervous I should be.
I was very confident coming up to the Derby. The only thing that concerned me with this particular horse was getting him to accept the crowds.
120,000 people. The favorite, remember, a horse that was bought for $17,500. Bargain basement for a champion. Here they come.
Ladies and gentlemen, the management of Churchill Downs proudly presents the 103rd running of the Kentucky Derby.
There is the alleged super horse, and yet the horseman looked at him in the Wood Memorial and said no such thing. Thus 14 opponents here. Unbeaten Seattle Slew, the overwhelming favorite in the race.
He won the Champagne and he won the Wood. So we were kind of riding high. You know, we felt we should be favored. It was not a problem for us.
Seattle Slew went into the Derby as the first horse undefeated going into the Kentucky Derby, so you always respect a horse that never been beat.
Going into a race in the Derby in 1977 with Sanhedrin, I believe I had a chance to win the race.
Velasquez was not alone, as 14 3-year-olds stepped into the gates against Slew at Churchill Downs.
As you look at the number 3 horse, Seattle Slew.
He's moving fast.
broke slowly. Breaking on the lead, it's Bob's Dusty on the inside. For the moment, showing speed on the outside, gets the lead. It's For the Moment taking over by 2 lengths. Then Bob's Dusty Run, Seattle Slew has moved up along the inside and has moved into second. Moving to the back stretch. For the Moment is along the inside, ahead in front. Seattle Slew is second by 4 lengths. Bob's Dusty is third by 4.5 lengths. Run Dusty Run in fourth by 1.5 lengths. Beginning to move up, Sir, Steve's Friend moves to the outside. Then also Papalotti, Best Person, Givole, Get the Axe, and Affiliate. They're moving into the turn, and it's 2 in front or For the Moment by 1/2 length, with Seattle Slew drawing alongside again. Bob's Dusty is 3 lengths back in third, and now Steve's Friend is making up ground quickly. He's fourth on the outside. Run Dusty Run is attempting to get through along the rail and is also moving up. Then it's 6 lengths back to the next horse, Sir. Head of the stretch. For the Moment, Seattle Slew still battling it out together. And here's Run Dusty Run now closing ground and moving into third. It's Seattle Slew, however, that takes it over at the head of the stretch. Seattle Slew moving away, now opens 2.5. Run Dusty Run driving up on the outside into second. Steve's Friend, here's Sanhedrin now closing also along the inside. Coming to the wire, Seattle Slew opens it to 4 lengths. At the finish, it's going to be Seattle Slew, and he's going along easily. He wins it by about 2 lengths. Run Dusty Run is second, Sanhedrin in third. Then it was very tight for fourth between Steve's Friend, Get the Axe, and along the rail, Papalotti. And right now, here is Jim McKay.
Well, he's been tested now, all right. He had won 6 in a row, but they said yes, but he's never been tested. Well, he raced all the way with For the Moment. Staved off the challenge, and he's won the Kentucky Derby. Seattle Slew, yes, in fact, may be one of the great horses. He's gotten the first leg on the Triple Crown.
Well, of course, it's a tremendous relief. I think you breathe for the first time. You wind up holding your breath during a race a lot of times, particularly that one. It's an unbelievable high. It's absolutely wonderful.
He's been challenged now. People said he hadn't been challenged, but he has been, and he had it.
That's the most thrilling thing about the whole race was he broke slowly. He was shut off immediately. He had to overcome adversity, and then he went on to do what he's supposed to do, and it's a sign of a racehorse.
I know he was a good candidate to win the Triple Crown because his Derby race was very powerful.
Up next, Seattle Slew continues his bid for Triple Crown history at the Preakness Stakes. Welcome back to Run for the Crown 1977.
We now return to the Run for the Crown 1977 as Seattle Slew takes to the track at Pimlico for the Preakness Stakes with more than just speed on his side. Superstition played a role as well in the Slew crew's success.
Both of us, Karen Taylor and I, wound up going to the Derby in very similar dresses, same color, because our colors were yellow and black, and we wore black hats. And then everyone said, well, of course you're going to wear the same outfit to the Preakness. And I mean, I guess we did not to at that point. And so we wound up wearing those dresses all 3 times.
Wearing the team colors may have helped, but trainer Billy Turner took no chances in preparing Seattle Slew for the grind of the races ahead.
The only concern that I had was surviving the Triple Crown. And the way you survive the Triple Crown is to do as little as possible in each race to get by, to get to the next one.
Seattle Slew did well enough to win the Derby, though he did not challenge the Churchill Downs record. A fast run in the Preakness could answer questions about Slew's speed.
He's moving fast, and down the stretch they come! Photo finish!
They break away on the outside. It's Seattle Slew. Run Dusty Run. Down along the rail, it's Cormorant. Coming on, it's Regal Sir. Hey, JP right between them. Counter punch along the inside. They race to the clubhouse turn. It's Seattle Slew. Along the inside, Cormorant coming on. The battle head into the turn. They swing around the clubhouse turn. It's Seattle Slew on the outside. Cormorant along the rail. He match tries as they swing around the turn. Hey, JP on the outside. Along the rail, it's counter punch. Then it's Regal Sir, way on the outside, Run Dusty Run. J.O. Tobin
gap of 3 more lengths. Iron Constitution, and it's Sir. They go to the backstretch. It's Cormorant along the rail. On the outside, Seattle Slew, they match stride. They come to the 8th pole. It's Seattle Slew. Iron Constitution rallying on the outside along with J.O. Tobin. A 16th of a mile to run. It's Seattle Slew. Iron Constitution charging on the outside. Coming on to the finish. Seattle Slew in front by 2 lengths. Well, there he is. Seattle Slew has taken another step on the road to greatness, winning the Preakness Stakes in 1:54 and 2/5. That's just 2/5 off the record set by Cañonero II. They were ahead of the pace most of the way. When the moment came to show what he had, Slew was up to it. He's run 8 times in his life. He has won every time. And now if he can go on to win the Belmont Stakes in the month of June, he will become the first horse in history ever to go undefeated while winning the Triple Crown, undefeated for his career through those 3 races. There was Jean Truguet, well in control of his horse and well out in front of all the rest.
In winning the Preakness, Slew's jockey Jean Truguet had now guided the horse in each of his 8 races, all victories. But prior to mounting Slew, Truguet's mediocre race record had saddled him with a less than terrific reputation.
This is the jockey who served in the French army in Algeria, came out, couldn't get too many mounts in his home country, came here, has had a great career, and now has won the Derby and the Preakness in a row. His mount, Seattle Slew.
Jean Truguet sat on a horse really well, had a good sense of timing, and you know, you or I could have probably ridden Seattle Slew, but Jean fit him very nicely and did a wonderful job on him.
What about the 1.5 miles of the Belmont? Is that going to be a problem?
Well, the only thing is I think he'll run the same way going 1.5 miles that he ran, 1 mile and 3/16 today, and just keep belting along.
You keep saying that every time, and it keeps coming up the next race.
Seattle Slew now had to win just 1 more race to become the first ever undefeated Triple Crown winner. When Run for the Crown 1977 continues, Slew runs for a place in history. Welcome back to Run for the Crown 1977.
These races are just so difficult to win. You have to bring a horse up to, it's very top level. It's top performing capability on a certain day at a certain time of that day before 125,000 people, and then come back and do it again 2 weeks later, and then come back and do it again 3 weeks later. Very hard.
Even after I lost the Derby, I said, well, I got to get myself another horse probably to see if I can beat him. But then I got another horse and I went up second, and with Iron Constitution and the Preakness. So I went back to Sanhedrin and the Belmont Stakes.
By the time of the Belmont Stakes in New York, it was widely believed that Seattle Slew was unbeatable. The only question was whether Slew could handle the distance of the last jewel in the Triple Crown.
When you win 2 legs, as Seattle Slew did, the owners, the Taylors and the Hills, had to be very confident going into the 3rd race, except for the fact that, like every other owner, trainer in the race, they didn't know what their horse would do at 1.5 miles.
The main thing I did with coming up to the Belmont was I worked him 2-mile works back to back, and the reason was I wanted to take the edge off him so that if he wound up in a situation where a speed horse went with him early, he could accept that and still finish.
Fortunately for the Slew crew, the race was held at the track where Seattle Slew had been housed his entire racing career.
Belmont Park has a tendency to be a good home court advantage track because it is deeper. There's a lot more sand in the Belmont surface than there is in the other 2 tracks. Belmont is a track you need to know a little bit, and you need to get used to.
The competition wasn't as strong as he was on the other 2 races, and he was the only one looked like he was on his best.
He's moving fast, and down the stretch they come! Photo finish! And they're off. All the lead on the inside now.
Seattle Slew goes for the lead. He has the lead as they move through the stretch. Up on the outside, it's Sanhedrin. Along the inside, Run Dusty Run. On the extreme outside, Spirit Level is moving up. They move for the first turn with Spirit Level on the extreme outside, and Seattle Slew along the rail. Then it's Run Dusty Run alongside Sanhedrin, followed by Mr. Red Wing, then Make Amends, Sir, and Iron Constitution. Moving on the turn, Seattle Slew by a half length. Spirit Level is second by 2. Run Dusty Run is third by a half. Sanhedrin is fourth by 2.5. Then Mr. Red Wing is fifth by 3 lengths. Make Amends is alongside Sir, and the final horse is Iron Constitution. They've gone the first quarter of a mile, 24 3.5 and 48 2 with Seattle Slew now to receive a challenge on the outside. It's Seattle Slew on the inside. Run Dusty Run and Spirit Level have both moved up alongside. It's Seattle Slew holding on, however, and now he pulls away to a length again. Spirit Level is second ahead and Run Dusty Run is third. A gap of 4 back, and it's Sanhedrin in fourth. Mr. Red Wing is fifth. Then it's Iron Constitution moving to 6, Sir, and Make Amends, 3/4 of a mile in 1:14. They're moving on the turn. Still Seattle Slew, and he has it by 2. Run Dusty Run and Spirit Level are battling together, second and third. Beginning to close a bit, Sanhedrin is fourth and closer. Mr. Red Wing is fifth. Iron Constitution in a furious drive is driving along the rail. They're coming on the turn with Seattle Slew still the leader. Seattle Slew, 1 mile and 1:38 and 4/5 now leads by a half. Still on the outside now, Sanhedrin is taken over. Then it's Run Dusty Run, swinging to the extreme outside, Iron Constitution. In the stretch, here he comes, and he's opening it up again. It's Seattle Slew, and he's drawing clear of the field. Seattle Slew has 4 lengths on Run Dusty Run. It's Run Dusty Run in second and Sanhedrin third. They're clearing the finish line. It's still Seattle Slew, and he's opened it out to 4.5. Then Run Dusty Run and Sanhedrin. They're coming onto the wire, and it's all over with. John Cougar looks back. He's got it one. He stands up. It's over with. Seattle Slew 3.5. Run Dusty Run is second, 2.5. Sanhedrin is third. Quite a finish. Quite a surprising finish.
With this easy victory, the journey was over. Seattle Slew had become the first horse to go undefeated in claiming the Triple Crown.
Nobody wanted to go with him, so they went the slowest first half mile, first 3/4 of a mile that they'd had in years. And then when I saw that they went 3/4 of 14, I said, it's over. and then I felt relieved.
Seattle Slew was coming to the finish line at Belmont Park, final jewel of the Triple Crown. He comes under the wire, and John Cougar does something that I had never seen before. He gave the salute. He raised his arm. He had won the Triple Crown.
I was a little amazed. I know when he came back, I think our trainer Billy Turner said something to him, and about he could have fallen off, and I said, if you'd have fallen off, I'd have killed you.
Seattle Slew and Jean Cougar cemented their place in thoroughbred racing history with a victory at the Belmont Stakes. When we come back, we'll look at Slew's true legacy. Welcome back to Run for the Crown 1977.
Seattle Slew in the 1970s, particularly in 1977, was a huge, huge hero. There were 2 things that mitigated against its lasting fame. One, that it only followed Secretariat by 4 years, and 2, that it only preceded Affirmed by 1 year. Before you could fully savor how great this Triple Crown champion was, we had a new Triple Crown champion.
Seattle Slew was just brilliant, and he had a great following and a great fan club, and he was a brilliant horse. Then he went on to be an exceptional stallion, and he's spawned these generations of horses. I mean, Slew of Gold and you know, Sloopy and horses like that. So in that sense, he has a huge legacy.
Seattle Slew sired dozens of great horses that took his blood and ran with it. Affirmed's offspring did not do as well as Seattle Slews. Secretariats did not do as well as Seattle Slews.
Seattle Slew did not dominate the field the way Secretariat had, nor did he benefit from a rivalry like that of Affirmed and Allydog. But as the first undefeated Triple Crown champion, his place in horse racing history will be forever secure.
If you start measuring the brilliance, by that I mean just the sheer raw speed and the capacity to carry the speed a distance of ground. That's what I mean by brilliance, and that's what Seattle Slew had.
Seattle Slew was a horse for the Horses Hall of Fame. There's no question about that.
Because he didn't dominate like Secretariat, and because he didn't have a rival to dramatize his victories as Affirmed had Allydog, Seattle Slew is probably the least known of the three horses to win the Triple Crown in the 70s. But consider this, in the summer of '78, in the first ever meeting of Triple Crown winners, the elder Seattle Slew defeated the younger Affirmed by 3 lengths. And here's a stat not even the great Secretariat can match. Seattle Slew is the only horse to start and finish a Triple Crown series undefeated. A final note, bought by horse racing outsiders for $17,500, Seattle Slew was valued at $12 million when retired to stud. At Spendthrift Farm, he would both prove his true value and fortify his legacy. For everyone at ESPN Classic and the Run for the Crown, I'm Chris Fowler.